Hey, crazy friends.
Hey guys!
It's Jay and Francis with Find Your Crazy. We're a family of 9 who travel full-time in our RV as we go around the country to see every national park. This week, we are super duper excited because we are headed to the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter in North Kentucky. We are super excited. I've been able to go to Creation Museum a couple of times, but I've never been able to go to the Ark. And I mean, let's be honest, how many times in your life do you get an opportunity to see a life-size replica of the actual Ark? Let's go check it out. So for our family, Crazy Faith is one of our 3 pillars, and it is something that covers everything that we do in our lives. It's very important to us, and we are straight biblicists, and so we believe in the creation narrative. And Answers in Genesis, the organization that sponsors these 2 attractions, has had a long legacy in the church of defending that point of view, and so we have been supporters for a long time. We've had them at churches that I've been on in the past. I've been able to go and meet with Ken Him, who's the director, the kind of founder of the whole organization. I've been able to go to the Creation Museum a couple times, but never to the Ark Encounter. And so we are super excited because these both take top scientists from fields all across the scientific spectrum and who are believers, and give them an opportunity to give evidence for the creation narrative. And that's super important. And it's something we really wanted to do with the kids. Actually, we wanted to do it really early in our trip.
Our first route.
Yeah, because we wanted to kind of lay a foundation for that with them, but we just didn't get to because of COVID, and just that kind of wrecked our first route. So we're just now getting to it, but we're really excited about taking this opportunity to share this with them and share kind of that scientific perspective on a creationist account.
Yeah, so when I first graduated from college and Jay and I headed to Texas, I worked for a group called the Foundation for Thought and Ethics, and I was an editor, and I worked with incredible scientists in the field of intelligent design. And so there was so much around me that I learned, and so much that could be grasped just through what the world shows us about God and reveals to us about the creation story, about the Creator himself, and that the answers are truly found in the Word of God and around us. And so I have a minor in biology, and just enjoyed my time really working with some of the top scientists in the field, PhDs in the field, really talking about what intelligent design, which means that as we look around, we know that there is a creator, that there is an intelligent designer, that this isn't to happen by happenstance, but this is actually in a beautiful, intelligent design by an incredible creative God. And so I'm excited because I haven't gotten a chance to go there and really see the pieces of this put together, hands-on for our kids, because it can be kind of overwhelming to think of all of these thoughts and all this scientific background and things like that. But for regular folks like us, it's really exciting to go in, to put our hands to it, our feet to our faith, and be able to really immerse ourselves in biblical history and also just the creation of the world from a perspective of God's beautiful creativity. So come on with us. It's going to be a great day. Wow. So we just walked through the gates, and
it's impressive.
It's
huge.
huge.
It's huge. Like, I mean, you read the accounts and you see the figures and the translations and conversions, but I mean, just seeing it here, it's just
Massive.
impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, really, it's worth the price of admission just to walk through that first gate and see it standing there. I will say that just a couple of logistics things. You don't park here at the Ark. You actually park right off the interstate, and there's $10 for parking. And then you're going to get in line to get your tickets, and then you get in another line to ride a bus here to the Ark Encounter. So from the time that we pulled through the front of the parking lot to the time that we actually got here was about an hour and 5 minutes. So just realize we came on a Sunday, and so that may be a little skewed just because Sunday's shorter hours, and so there's probably more people trying to get there right at the beginning, but just plan accordingly. But be ready when you walk through those gates. It's amazing. All right, so we are done, and I will say my feet are tired.
Yeah.
And my brain is tired. We got here at 1 o'clock, right when it opened. It took us an hour to get through ticketing, the buses, and here on site with the Ark. So we probably walked in the Ark about 2:10, and it is right now around 5:15 or so. And so it took us about 3 hours. There's basically 3 full floors of information. I will say where it soars is just the opportunity to see in scale and scope what was going on. All the dioramas of the animals and the full-size cages and the demonstrations of how they would have handled water and food.
Your living quarters.
Yeah, those things that's where it excels. It's just amazing. Where it was tough was there's a lot of reading. And like even trying to read it to the kids, like we would read it and then like at first we started out kind of reading it to the kids and then I stopped that and I would read it and then I would just kind of try to explain it to the kids. But even then I think they got kind of overloaded. I will say we did come on a pretty crowded day it seemed like, and so we were standing in line a lot instead of getting kind of to move at our own pace.
For sure.
But still I will say just seeing it was an amazing experience for the kids, and so like I wouldn't slight that at all. But I will just say it was a lot of reading.
It's amazing. Some of the things that I love that it tackles are things that we have seen, like how did the Grand Canyon form? What about an ice age? So there's a lot that if you are full-time traveling or if you are visiting places like the national parks where you're faced with kind of a evolutionary mindset all the time of how these great and incredible places were formed. This is an amazing breath of fresh air because it answers those questions and it allows us to kind of mirror what we've read but put it up against our faith journey. And so that has been really great because there have been really specific areas that we've seen ourselves that we've explained to the kids, but when they come here and they really get immersed in it, and it just comes to life. It is something about being in a museum, something about being kind of immersed fully in this scenario. It really helps to just take it up a notch because we're in a lot of places with a lot of information, but most of it isn't coming from the faith background. Also, I think there was some interactive as far as getting to see where the animal quarters would have been, how they would have dealt with water. There's so much practicality in this museum. Questions you didn't even know that you had. So I just read some of the accounts and I'm like, okay, by faith, I received that. And I didn't really think a lot further and deeper than that, but this place...
They really think it all out. And they kind of disclaim that at the beginning, like, okay, here's what the Bible tells us. And everything that the Bible tells us, this place is true too. But the Bible doesn't tell us much.
Right.
And so they're clear at the beginning that, look, this is an artistic interpretation.
Yes.
Not meaning it's make-believe, meaning based off of the facts we do have, here are ways that we know absolutely they could have fed that many
because there
animals.
are shipbuilding records.
Right.
There are seafaring ships that were around that time. How would it have been, how throughout the years, could have been at
and
that
so
time.
not that this is exactly how it was, but this is exactly how it could have been, and it absolutely could have happened for real. And I think that, like I said, to me, that's really the strength of where the
Absolutely. There's a few movies. There are lots and lots of reading. So, I would say if you're around this area or you can get here within a day or so, that you might want to even look into an annual pass, because for us, what I would have liked to have done with our kids is to come on less crowded days and just maybe take a floor or even a couple of rooms and just read it, because when you have a lot of people, you don't want to spend too long at any certain exhibit because there's people waiting behind you, so you kind of feel rushed that you really need to read it, and that's just really hard to do. I have a background in biology, I have a background in intelligent design, and so I was really, really excited to read most of this, and so we'll be back. We said this about the Museum of the Bible too, that sometimes you would just love to come back through. So you might want to look at getting an annual pass. It's about 2 visits.
Or just coming on a full day. Like coming Sunday's a half day. It's 1 to 7. On a full day, it's like 9 to 8.
I think you'd be tired too, though.
Well, but I think that would give you that opportunity to leave out of the Ark, go sit down for a long lunch. Here they have a couple places, and then come back in.
True, that's true.
To really kind of rest those legs.
And if there weren't
trying to tackle it in one piece right like this has been a long day.
Yeah. So an idea that you can do also is we've been taking pictures of things that were really important that we wanted to go back to, information. That's really good, just snapping your pictures of exhibits that you didn't get to read but you were excited about. And everybody's different in what they're really looking for and what they want. But I'm telling you, the amount of effort, the amount of research, and just manpower that goes into something like this is extraordinary. It is a non-miss item on your bucket list, because you will really stand in the presence of recognizing, man, the undertaking that Noah and his family had. Like, how in the world?
If they stripped every exhibit and like every sign and word out of here, and you just came and walked through, it would still be awe-inspiring. I mean, just the scale of it, like, again, you read it on the pages of the Bible, but walking up and seeing it, totally different.
And just, it's going to explain some things in a very applicable way. So I will say that the readings that you get, many of them are easy to understand and applicable to kind of the journey. So just as far as the different kinds instead of all the species, I mean, those are things that are just super interesting to me, and really were great to involve the kids in, of how that happened, and kind of taking the Bible and just extrapolating a little bit more of how that could have been, because it seems almost an impossibility. And then when you're here, you see, man, the impossible became possible.
So, obviously we said we spent about 3.5 hours or so inside the Ark, but don't be fooled that that's all there's to do. There's actually stuff to do outside the Ark as well. The biggest thing being a little miniature zoo where you can go around and look at the animals, but not just look. They have a couple of areas where you can actually walk in with the animals.
With the kangaroos.
Kangaroos, and here with all of the goats. And so you can get in there, and then there's several restaurants, little snack places, and then there's also a kids' playground. And so once you get done inside the Ark, know that you've got a little while to spend on grounds before leaving.
You know, that's a really good thing to do because it's nice to get outside in the sunshine. It's nice to get out in the fresh air. You've kind of been inside. The light is really low in the Ark. It's just kind of similar to what it would be. And so it's nice to come outside to get some fresh air, to let the kids just kind of run around and play, hands-on, touching, looking at animals and God's creation. It's really great. And there's little places to eat, or you can probably bring a picnic lunch, get a snack. You can't bring food in?
No.
Never mind, don't bring food in because we're not supposed to do that. But it is really beautiful out here, and our kids are loving just the opportunity just to get immersed in some more of little creatures that would have been on the Ark.